Guess what? Today we're going to build another home booking application, but this time using a different AI agent, which in this case is Claude AI. Let me start the timer here. 1 hour, and let's see how far we can get. First, let's start up the agent like this. Say yes, we trust everything in this folder. And now let's see if I can use it to spin up a new project. Let me type in a prompt. Let's create a Hello World application that we will then use to build out a home booking application, period. But for now, let's just scaffold the things. End of the prompt. And let's see what's it going to do. Getting an error about Claude not being able to authenticate. Turns out my subscription was expired, so I created a new one. Let's see if this works now. I'll copy my prompt, paste it again, hit enter. All right, now it looks like it's going. I wonder how it's going to interpret this application creation request. Is it going to use just standard Next.js stuff, or it's going to use some other tooling? Let's see. This is suggested package JSON. Let's see, what is it going to use? It's going to use Express. No, actually, yeah, I'm going to say I pick the choice here, no, and I'll tell it to use differently. Here's what I want. Start out of the prompt. Let's make it a Next.js application. We'll start with just Hello World page without any of the backend for now. End of the prompt, and now enter. It's doing something. Now it says it'll use Next and React and other things. Yeah, this looks correct. Here I'll pick the option, yeah, just go ahead and do it. Now it's asking me a permission to create folders. I'll say yes, and don't ask me again. Just do your thing. Okay, now it's asking a permission to create file. Oh, you know what? It's going to use some custom CSS for globals here. One thing I want to make sure it does. So it looks like it's using Bootstrap classes here. Is that the case? What was in the package JSON? Let's look at it one more time. Was it using any Bootstrap or CSS dependencies? Not that I can tell. Or that was the old one. The new one is, yeah, I guess I lost it. It removed the output of the old one. You can't quite click around when it's in the command line like this. All right, I guess we can do it this way for now. Yes, just create all the files you seem to be requiring. That's fine. Okay, it used Tailwind CSS for styling. We'll see how that goes. In my experience, it makes a pretty bad styling choices, like the contrast of the background and text very poor. You can't quite see anything on the page. While if I switch to Bootstrap, it just uses the components and everything looks much better. So for now, it says it's done, and it's inviting me to run npm run dev, I suppose. Let me do that in a separate window. We'll navigate to the projects folder, to the home booking with Claude, and then run npm run dev. Next command not found. Okay, because I need to npm install, and then npm run dev. All right, it started the server. Let's visit that and see our Hello World application. This looks good. Now let's do the following. Let's figure out what we're building today. Okay, start of the prompt. Let's make a list of the features that we'll attempt to accomplish today, period. Create a markdown document in the docs folder and outline a few basic features that you think a home booking rental application should have. End of the prompt, enter. It's thought up of a few things, and now it's creating the MD file, I imagine. Let's open the code base in VS Code. Let me open yet another pane here. I'll create another, I'll just go another tab here, and I'll say, let's navigate to the project one more time. VS Code. Now let's look at the docs. This is the features. The list is quite long. Wow, I definitely not going to attempt to build out everything within 53 minutes. So let's see. User authentication and profile, registration and login, profile management, host versus guest distinction, profile photo upload. Let's get rid of the photo. Property listing, create property listing form. Yeah, let's keep that. Property details, that would be helpful. Photo upload and gallery. For now, let's skip that. Now property amenities checklist. Yeah, sure, that sounds simple. And then pricing configuration. Sure, let's keep, well, actually, let's get rid of it. Let's try to keep it simple. Now search by location. Okay, filter by dates, price range, and guests. Maybe let's filter just by price range for now to keep things simple. Property grid and list view. I guess that's that'll be part of the property listings, right? Create property listing form, property details. Okay, we didn't get to build the list view. Okay, so that makes sense. Map integration. Let's get rid of this. Booking system. Availability calendar. Let's not bother with that yet. Booking request flow. Yes, keep that. Date selection and validation. Let's skip validation for now. Guest count selection. Booking confirmation. I like that. Basic UI will have navigation header, property card, search form, date picker, and image carousel. Yeah, I feel like we're just going to build those things as we go along the list on the top. Okay, and this is the rest of the features. I will remove this. All right, so we just now have 4 sections to build out. Let's start with authentication and profiles. Go back to the terminal with the AI, and I'll tell it this. Start of the prompt. I adjusted the list of the features that you created, period. Let's start with the first section and with the first feature and go step by step. I'll let you know when to proceed to the next step, period. End of the prompt. Enter. Let's see how it's going to interpret this. All right, it's showing some enthusiastic replies, and it seems to be starting to build the authentication mechanism using Next.js. Taking a while for it. All right, it says it added the authentication part. And now it's inviting us to test it out. First, we need to go back to the other tab and rerun npm install to install the auth.js, and then run the dev server one more time. And now we can go to the browser, refresh the page, and I believe we need to navigate to the URL auth sign in. Let's see if that'll work. All right, very basic styling. That's why I would prefer to use Bootstrap. I think in the next prompt, before we move on to the next feature, I'll ask it to use Bootstrap because this doesn't look that good. But anyway, the flow, email address, it's suggested to use user@example.com. Let's copy that and paste. And then for the password 123, click sign in, and all right, it took us back to the home page, but how can we tell that we are authenticated? Is it something we can check in the local storage, perhaps, that it's saved? All right, there is some local storage stuff here, but it might be from previous app that I had running on this port 3000. Let me do this. Let me delete everything. Delete all the local storage items. Now visit the auth sign in page one more time. I still have the password. Let me go back and copy this email, sign in, and it did put something in local storage, but it doesn't appear to be any kind of authentication information. Let's try to sign in. Actually, let's ask it. Let's say I tried the sign in form, period. It submitted and redirected me to the home page, period. But how can I tell that it worked. Question mark. End of the prompt. Send. All right, yeah, it says, that's right, there's no any indication of that. And now it's adding some visual indicators for the authentication status. It'll be adding user info to the homepage. All right, it started creating more HTML. We should probably switch to Bootstrap sooner than later. But now it says it's done. All right, let's come back here. All right, yeah, it says it is authenticated. How does it determine the authentication? Let's visit the code real quick. So in here we have source, we have app, we have API with the route that has callbacks, and there's some authentication stuff in here. All right, how about the pages? If we go to authentication page, it's here. Okay, show me the page that is the home page right here. It checks, let's see, it has the status for use session, and use session. All right, it's just some next auth stuff. It uses this use session stuff, and then that's where the info is coming. I don't know how it works under the hood, and I don't think I'm going to explore that as part of this session. It appears to be working, so let's just move on. It also presented the sign out button, so let me click that. It refreshed the page, and we appear to be no longer signed in. All right, so this looks good. Now, before we get too far, I close the tab. Let me commit the changes, because right now it looks good. And I want to save the state before I break the app with the next prompt. So I'll say projects, home booking, Claude, and then get information. It's not a get. We'll say get init, and now get add everything. Well, except we'll say, does this have get ignore? It doesn't. Let me add dot get ignore, and then here node modules is excluded. And now I can say get add everything and commit. Get commit. I'll just call it init. All right, saved. All right, next prompt. Let's switch from Tailwind CSS to Bootstrap CSS. End of the prompt, enter. Let's see how good of a job it'll do switching to Bootstrap. I like how it has the timer here for counting how long the response to the prompt takes. So far it's been about 50 seconds converting things to Bootstrap. Well, it took 2 minutes for it to finish. Okay, we gotta do npm install one more time, and then restart the server. Now let's refresh the page. Does this look better? Yes, much better. Let's sign in. Email address. Oh, I lost the... Okay, I think I remember. It was user@example.com, and the password was password123. All right, this looks good. What is next in our feature list? Feature MD. Let's check off the boxes here. User registration and login. That's completed. User profile management. What does that even mean? I'm not sure I want to get into that. I think... Yeah, I'm going to delete these, and I'll have it to go ahead with property listings. Okay, back to the AI prompt. Start of the prompt. Now let's move on to the next feature. End of the prompt, enter. Hey, it thinks there's still user profile management. Let me stop it. Escape to interrupt. Did it do any code changes yet? Let me check. Get status. I think it only did updates around the styling. So let's commit that. We'll say styling. Am I supposed to be committing this .next.js files? I don't know. I am not a Next.js developer, so don't be mad if you see me doing silly things. Now let's see. Where's my prompt? I want to copy it. I'll say let's move on to the next feature. Okay, I'll paste that into my prompt, and then I'll finish the prompt. Check the features document for the next one. End of the prompt, enter. Now it read the document. So I gotta make sure to, when I edit the document, have it to read it. And also, since I have the document keeping track track for the AI of the progress of our application, I might want to start a new session from time to time here, because a single session, once it goes for a while, it starts getting confused. I think the context window gets overwritten and it starts forgetting some things, but also it remembers some of the things from the session and gets confused. So maybe after this feature, I'm going to start a new session in the new terminal window. All right, it says it's done creating the next feature, which is a property listing form. Let's go and give it a try. We reload the home page. Nothing is here. How do I get to that new page? It says I need to sign in as a host, and then I'll see the link. Okay, let's do that. Sign out as the guest and then sign in as a host example with this password. And here's the create listing button. Okay, clicking that. It prompts us to enter all the info. Okay, let's do that. To save time, I'll just say foobar on everything. Address. I don't think it does any validation, so hopefully this will all just get through. Okay, check a few checks. Click create listing. Price must be greater than 0. Oh, it's nothing in here. Okay, here's 100. Create listing. There's a silly JavaScript browser-based dialog confirmation. Definitely don't want that. And then it took us to the listings page that I think doesn't exist yet. We just built the form, right? But what happened when we built the form? How did it implement it? Let's take a look at the code real quick and check the page. Check the listings create page. What happens when you submit the form? Where is the handle submit? What does it do at the end? It says route or push listings, promise resolve, simulate the API call. Okay, so it doesn't save the listing into anything. Okay, that's fine, but what I want to see is a list of the properties within the next feature. So let's do this. Let's have it. Wait, let's check the features list. Create property listing form. Okay, this is done. Property details page. Okay, for that we need to implement some storage. Let's go to the AI and start the prompt. Let's build the property details page, period. But I don't want to fill out the form for create the property each time to test it, period. So let's create a mocked list of property listings, period. End of the prompt. And then let's finish up the prompt by saying, no, okay, we already say that we're building the property listing page, the details page. So let's hit that. It thinks that it's a great idea to mock the sample of property listings. Yeah, here I can kind of tell that it's starting to get a little slow with a long session history. So after this is done, for sure I'm going to create a new session as soon as we get at a good spot with the functionality wise. All right, it says it created it. Let's visit the app. Let's go to the home page. All right, browse properties. All right, look at this. This looks really nice. It even added some pictures, and now the whole thing was about the property details, right? So let's see if we click into property details. Yeah, look at this. And this is really nice, and the styling, I love it. It looks awesome. And there's some basic, not quite carousel, but it is carousel. Look at this. And it is working. That's awesome. And there's a booking dialog here. Looks very nice. We'll plug in some functionality into that. So I love it. Let's save our progress. Git commit, git add everything, and then git commit. Let's say property details. Okay, what is the next thing? Let's look at our list here, feature list. Yeah, let's say we built the property details page. That's done. Now property amenities checklist. Now let's move on to the search and discovery. Searching. No, I think actually I'm just gonna skip the whole thing. I would really love to see if we can get to the booking system. Okay, so I think we are good to start a new session. So I'm going to close this pane. I'm going to open a new tab and navigate into the project folder one more time. Start Claude. Okay, it's asking for a prompt. Okay, start of the prompt. We are building a home rental booking application here, period. We're trying to keep everything simple, period. You can continue the build by checking the features markdown document in the docs folder to start building out the booking flow. End of the prompt, enter. Getting similar error. It says invalid model name. I guess let's start it again. Make sure I copied the prompt. No, still getting the same error. Okay, I restarted Claude with this parameter, and now it appears to be working. Now it's reading the code base, planning out the build. Okay, it appears to be finished. Let's check it out in the UI. So imagine this is the block where we do the booking, the date selectors. Let's say check-in is today and check-out is tomorrow. The calculated price is 150, total is 175. That is correct. Let's change checkout. Let's book 2 nights. It calculates the total price still correctly. Okay. Before I click the reserve button, let me open the tab here, network tab, just to keep an eye on what it's doing under the hood. Let me pick 2 guests and then click reserve. Oh, it thinks I'm not signed in. Okay, let's sign in as the user at example.com, password 123, enter. Okay, it didn't take me back to the booking page, but that's fine. Let's go back to the booking page and fill in check-in and check-out dates. Click reserve. Valid, please enter valid dates. These are valid dates. Let's make sure check-in on 18th and check-out on 20th. Yeah, it doesn't like the dates. So validation is now working properly here. Let's go back to the AI and complain about it. Alright, start of the prompt. In the booking form, I enter the correct check-in and check-out dates, but the validation in the form says that I provided invalid dates. End of the prompt, enter. Let's see what it's going to do with that. It says, I found the issue. Fixing. Okay, it says it's ready to try again. Is it though? The page didn't refresh. I'll refresh it manually. Check-in date, check-out date. Click reserve. Oh, look at this. It took me to the confirmation page. And it just repeats all the information here. And then we'll say confirm booking. Look at this nice spinner on the button. And then it says booking confirmed. With a pretty good design. Out of the box, just with the prompt, it created some kind of booking reference. Now I wonder, did it save this booking anywhere? For persistence, local storage obviously would be the case, but I imagine it right now is just in the memory. So if I visit this booking confirmation page in a different tab, no, it says, okay, it confirmed, but I don't think it persisted the booking. For example, if I go view my bookings, which I didn't know it existed, but we should probably build that page out. Yeah, let's take this to the next level. So far, this is pretty good. Now, start of the prompt. The booking flow appeared to work correctly, period. But there is no way for me to view the bookings, period. I think there are 2 parts to this. There is no page for me to view the bookings. And another part is that we do not persist the bookings, period. Perhaps let's use local storage, period. All right, end of the prompt, enter. Now it appears to be going on a pretty large quest of implementing local storage. It figured as part of its thinking routine that it has to update a whole bunch of stuff to support what I'm asking. So I imagine it'll think and do things for a while, and let's see if that'll work. All right, it says it's done. Didn't take that long, but let's see if it works. Go to the home page. My bookings button, that showed up. Click that. No bookings yet. So let's create a booking real quick, just like we did before. Fill in the details. Check in, check out, say reserve, confirm, booking confirmation. All right, now take me to my bookings. That took me to the wrong page. So let me navigate to my bookings manually, and look at this. The booking showed up and it looks so nice. I love how it styles it. Switching to Bootstrap makes such a big difference because it uses all these components that just have all the predefined styling. This is awesome. And look, it has view property button that takes me to the property page. This is pretty amazing. View details, that's my booking confirmation details. I am genuinely impressed how this just works out of the bat. I didn't even need to do much troubleshooting this session at all. Am I disappointed that I didn't get to dive into the code? Not at all. This is pretty awesome. Now, this is the booking flow. There's obviously no any kind of payment involved, and I think that's fine for just kind of a prototyping. But let's check the feature list. Is there anything else that we can add here? Feature, let's check. Booking system, we did that. Date selection, did that. Guest count selection, yes. Booking confirmation, yes. Look at this. We went through major sections here, and it mostly worked. That's pretty crazy. I'm very impressed. Now for the future iterations, it suggested to do the payment integration, messaging system between hosts and users, and then reviews and ratings. This is all interesting, and I'm not sure I want to dive into that yet, but what I want to see is if I can deploy this application to cloud real quick using Vercel and just have it and just poke at it in the cloud. That would be super interesting if we can accomplish this within the remaining 10 minutes. And for that, let's tidy up the Git repository. We'll delete all these next folder items, and then just commit whatever is there. Now let's go to GitHub and initiate the repository real quick. Create new repository. We'll call this home booking with Claude. Create, and let's use AI to connect this to the repository. Let's say start of the prompt. I created repository, period. Could you help me to push the current code to that repository after connecting to it? Question mark. End of the prompt. I don't remember, there's some git commands that you need to execute to connect your GitHub repository to your local folder. Now it says, yeah, one of those git remote add whatever. Yes, execute it for us, please. And then main branch, yes. And then it wants to push, yes, please push it up. I'm not sure what's taking so long to execute git push. This shouldn't be taking that long. But it looks like it did something, so let's refresh this page. Okay, there you go. Here is the project info. Now let's go to Vercel and create a new project. It'll be based on, let's see, how can I get, this is search. What is it searching for? Home booking. Will it find the Claude version? Okay, I added the repository. Now I'll say import. It's Next.js root repository. I don't think we have environment variables or anything. We'll say deploy. Okay, it says failed to compile. Let's copy this output and paste it for our AI to try to fix it. Or I'll say start of the prompt. Trying to deploy this to Vercel. This is the error message. All right, pasted the error message. End of the prompt. It says it's a TypeScript issue. Must be some type checking. Now it says to, and okay, now it executes npm run build. That's what Vercel does. So I guess it's just verifying that it'll be successful locally. Okay, that was successful. So now we can just push to main, git add, yes, and git commit. and then git push. It says it's done. Let's try the deployment one more time. Let's click deploy again. 3 minutes left. Look, can we make it work? Can we serve this app from cloud? All right, build finished. Let's go to the dashboard and visit the page on the web. All right, okay, we gotta click on the browse properties. Look at that. This is serving from cloud. This is no longer on my local machine. And let's try to sign in as a user, regular user. That was user@example.com, and password is password123. Server error configuration. Reload. Yeah, I'm not sure, so it did not log us in. Let's visit the homepage one more time. Say sign in, user@example, password123. Yeah, unfortunately something is not quite working out in terms of the login. Let's try to sign in as a host. Okay, still an error. Something is wrong with authentication when running in cloud. But let's see what happens if we try to book a property. Check in, check out dates, click reserve. Yeah, it says let's sign in. And I imagine once we try to sign in, we'll see that error. Password123. Now, can we see some details about the error here? It says 500. Okay, let's try to submit the form one more time and keep the network tab open. Okay, network tab. Clear this out. Submit. This was providers list. Oh, you know what? I think it has something to do with missing secret value for in environment variables. And once we add that, it'll work. Can we do it within a couple of minutes left? Look, the timer went off. 1 hour is out. So let me kill that. But you know what? I'm not going to go and troubleshoot this in Vercel. What we have is pretty amazing. It's working in the cloud. The authentication and booking, I'm sure once we figure out that environment variable, it'll work out. But what we have here so far that it's serving and working out of the cloud, it's pretty amazing. And it took very little troubleshooting and debugging to get so much functionality in so easily. This is pretty amazing experience with Claude so far.